Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our quarterly webinar. I'm Justin Lawrence, and with me today is Claire Collins from the Coding Company. Claire is an active clinical coder, coding educator, auditor, and clinical documentation specialist with over 15 years' experience in the industry. She's also a long-time user of our clinical coding and grouping solutions, and we're fortunate, as always, to have her presenting for us today. Today's webinar is really about how to get the most out of using TurboCoder. Over the last 12 months or so, we've received numerous requests, whether that be in person or following some training we've done or on our surveys, for us to run a session that's dedicated on TurboCoder usage. And it's an absolute pleasure to be able to provide that training today. Over the next hour, Claire will cover the core capabilities of TurboCoder. She'll also show you some of the advanced searching capabilities, the notes functions, and the pathway tools that are built into the product. There will also be plenty of time for questions, so please make sure you enter your questions in the Q&A section of the webinar, and we'll answer them at the end of the session, unless I can kind of do a quick answer during the discussion. Before I hand over to Claire, I would like to thank everybody for taking the time out of their day to join us. I'm sure that there'll be something to learn for everyone, regardless of whether you've been using TurboCoder for 10 years or 10 days. I'd also like to remind everybody to connect to us on LinkedIn. Let you know that Claire and I will both be at the iHackper meeting in Adelaide at the end of the month, and to do a quick plug for the TCC's Education Day, which is on the 29th of August here in beautiful Sydney. So I'd like to really encourage you to attend that. I'm not going to take up any more time. I'll hand you over to Claire right now. Claire, up to you.
Thanks, Justin. And I think Robert's also going to be at the TCC Education Day, and he's the technical side for any questions. But throughout the webinar today, I'll be talking about the navigation pane and the documentation frame. And Justin will be able to share this with you as well, just so that you know what I'm talking about as I refer to different parts of Turbo. So up at the top, you've got the little house that I refer to as home. Then you've got the little back arrow, which takes you back to where you were. There's a picture of a tree, which you can prune. I'll quickly show you that and how I operate that. So that's the picture of the tree. There's also a little window icon there that you can divide your display up. Your search menu is your drop-down box. Your search box is that big blank box there. There's a little drop-down sign there as well that you can look within that. I'll show that forward arrow, back arrow. I'll show you how to add and use a note and share a note and send an email. And the print option there, you can see the little printer if you wanted to print out anything in the application as well. I will refer to the navigation frame as where the index is, and then the documentation frame or the document frame is what you're choosing in the navigation frame. It displays in the documentation pane. So that's a quick rundown of what I'll be talking about or navigating through today. So thanks, Justin. I'm just going to share my screen, so you should be able to see.
Yeah, we can see it now, Claire.
See Turbo?
Yep.
Fantastic. So this is just exactly what we were looking at, that Justin had it open, so you can see what we're looking at. So Turbo was initially based on the books, which is why they've still got the books down the left-hand side. I am going to do a quick rundown because some people are new users and some people have been using it for a while, as Justin said, but I'll just do a quick rundown of what everything is. So you see the index and the tabular of diseases, the index and tabular of the interventions. You've got your purple Australian coding standards, coding rules, archive has all the old coding rules, and then your help, which is there all the time if you get stuck with anything. Across the top, the tree that I have open, you can see the toggle. If you see toggle tree pruning, so that the way that you can view your pruning options. So this is what I have pruned the tree, so to speak. So I've ticked prune, prune top, and prune siblings, and it just affects the way that your search in the navigation frame displays. And also you've got your help here. If you're a user that isn't integrated with the network, this is where you can check for your updates. So you go help, check for update. And the current version we're operating with is version 1.3. So that includes the errata that have sent out. If you're sitting on version 1.2, you need to have that update. And if you're in a hospital, the IT will be able to update that for you. And it's a very quick update. You don't have to have downtime or anything. So also I wanted to just show you this percentage button as we work with very fine writing all the time. It's nice to have a bit of relief and increase the size of what you can see. So if you want to increase either the navigation frame and the documentation frame, if you click into it, you'll see it becomes more white than the grey side over here. And you go up and choose if you wanted to make it smaller or you wanted to make it bigger. I sit at 150 just because it's easier on my eyes. And you can come into Turbo, make that white, and then you can make that smaller if you want to as well. So I'll just keep that as 50. That's where I like it. So we're going to explore a little bit more about this drop-down box today. So everywhere lead terms, subterms, codes, and standards, we'll work our way through that and how to use this search bar properly using these drop-down boxes. So if we do search everywhere and we type in a term that we wanted to look for, so we want to look for collection throughout the whole app, the TurboCoder app. You can see it suggests things that you might be looking for, like collection or collections. You'll see also to the left where what we call the hit map. So it appears 5 times in the index, 8 times in the tabular, 26 in the index there, and 25 in the tabular. So you can see where collection occurs throughout the whole app and how many times it occurs. If you wanted to go through each listing of the word collection, you click this forward arrow and it will take you to where the first listing is, and it's in this particular lookup, complications of aspiration with surgical evacuation of fluid collection, and then it's got your code there. If that's not what you're looking for, you can go back. In this case, I'm looking for a coding rule, so I can come down to the coding rule, click the forward button, and it's identified this particular coding rule with pelvic collection in it. So that's searching for one term throughout the whole app. So you can clear your search box and come home and it resets it back to the beginning. So what happens if we're looking for our lead term? Say let's do a simple appendicitis. So we go, old school would be to go to your index and then you index here and choose A and then type in appendicitis. So this is one way you can look up something. So you can go A and then in the navigation frame, you can see it's white. If you just start typing out the letters, the navigation will pick up the letters you're typing in and take you to where that it matches. So it goes down the list for you so you don't have to scroll up and down. So we've come down here, we can see appendicitis here. So you can choose appendicitis acute with, say we've got an abscess there, and then the code sits at the top of the documentation frame that you've found. So your K353. If you click on that, it hyperlinks to the tabular. So you can see any includes or excludes notes or anything else that you've got attached to that particular code there. If you come over here, you can also hover over the includes note and see that you don't have to have appendicitis on the histo to be able to code that. You can also come up to your excludes notes as well. If you just hover over the word excludes, it brings up what your excludes notes are. And also if you click on digestive, it goes right back to the beginning of the chapter to see if you wanted to see any notes or any excludes notes or includes notes assigned to the whole chapter. So that's really a great way to make sure you've got the right code. Just to go back and forth, you're using this back button here. So say we've selected our code there, we haven't seen anything that we wanted to look at, you can just scroll up and down in the tabular if you'd like. Let's go back to our lead term. So we want to look at appendicitis, the operation. So you can see it's selected the index here, but you don't have to worry about that. You can just go straight into the search box and start typing out what you're looking for. It will suggest all the terms that have these letters in them. So it's got appendectomy and appendicitis. So in this case, we want to do the procedure. So appendectomy, it takes us to the index lookup. We want to choose laparoscopic in this case. Hyperlink into the tabular. There's our code. If you want to go back to the index, you just click back. Say you want to look at the block, click back. That's fine. So you choose your code there. So that's a really simple way to hyperlink between the index and the tabular and the codes that you choose. So let's go back. Let's look at terms that might have a with involved. So say we've got your diabetes, where you're choosing a number within the code. So let's say we're doing diabetes with poor control or unstable diabetes. So our lead term has come up as diabetes. You can see that the heat map has also said there's diabetes in the interventions as well because of diabetes education. But we want to do diabetes with poor control type 2. So we go diabetes. Then we can do over here, we can type with, and it will pick it up and click enter. And then we want to look at, say, poor control, POO, and then it picks up that, enter, and it takes us to the code E1-65. So there's a missing number here. So if you click on that, you'll see that the search box now suggests which one of these diabetes types do we want to choose. We want to choose the type 2. And then it takes us to the tabular with the type 2 diabetes with poor control. Once again, it comes, the includes and excludes come along with the code right up to where you want to check. You might want to go back. There's notes sometimes here that you completely forget about. So it's good to be able to flick back and have a look at notes that you may or may not remember that are there. Hovering over your excludes, includes. This is the code you want, so you can code. You can see all the alternative call names for that. Scroll up and down if you require. So that's diabetes with, if you want to follow the with as well. So go back to everywhere, or you can click home to go back. So what happens if you want to do multiple codes like your cancer codes? So here we're still going to lead terms, but the way we look it up, we've got a table that we need to get to. So say we've got the type of cancer being adenocarcinoma. So you type in your lead terms, choose that. It takes you to the option where you can type in further specificity as well as the whole view of the index. So you can choose your neoplasm there, or you can say we've got it's acinar prostatic cancer. So yeah, it's come there. We choose prostate. So in this case, we've got the diagnosis code as well as the morphology code. And there's a coding rule there. If you click on that, that's a new rule that's been updated. We don't want to click into that right now. If you see a coding rule like this, you can see the little hand icon comes up. So if you hover over that, in the purple line just above it, you can see the name and the title, the number and the title of the actual coding rule. So that's a really great way to just say, is that relevant? You don't have to open it up every time. So we've got our M code and we've got our diagnosis code. There's another coding rule there that you can click into, and there's also a use additional code instruction you can click as well. You can click into a standard, and you can click anything that's blue is a hyperlink to elsewhere. And if you want to go back to where you were, you just go back. So back to your code for your neoplasm of the prostate. So that's how you would do your cancer codes when they're side by side. But what happens if you've got a site you have to identify. So say we've got carcinoma of no special type of the breast. So carcinoma, we type in no, enter, special type. It takes us over to the neoplasm breast malignant. There's your M code. Then we go into here, the hyperlink to neoplasm breast. So here we can see in the index, it's given us all the different lookups for breast cancer, as well as the codes. And you can also see the metastatic sites and the benign, in situ, and unknown codes as well for breast cancer. So we can choose, I like this because there's just a lot more terms to look up in the neoplasm table. So it's a good way to get the right code if you're not sure what is where for the cancer. So say we've got breast cancer unspecified, or they've got a clock. So sometimes I might say 3 o'clock of the left breast. I've added a note to this. So if I click on this note, you can see here I've got this saved on my computer and I can link that to this code. If I click on that, it brings up the pictures of the clock. So we wanted left breast at 3 o'clock, C50.8. So now we know what code we should apply. And you can just scroll up C58. There's the overlapping lesion standard as well that you can click into if you need to refer to that. So that's how you choose the site and the type when you have the option when you want to look at that neoplasm table as well. And you might have something like stenosis, like spinal stenosis with nerve root compression, spinal with, and then you've got your code here where you're choosing the 5th digit here. So you say you've got your lumbosacral spinal stenosis. So you've got your code there. You've also got your digits that you need to choose for the site listed there. You've got your coding rule there if you want to click onto that. Go back, choose G55, look at that. There's a coding rule there. That's been updated in 2022. I hope that's the latest one. Pretty sure it is. So that's how you would code when you've got your dagger asterisk coding as well. So external cause coding. So say we've got fall from slipping. So lead term fall. It finds everywhere where falls is. So you can see there's falls repeated. That's your diagnosis code, but you want to go into external causes. If you click fall, it will automatically choose this external cause of injury so chapter or section 2, sorry, for you because that's where fall is listed. So if you go to the index, you can see that's where it's listed. So it's not in the diseases and it's not in the drugs, it's in external causes. So you just click forward, fall, same level from, I think it said slipping, and then you've got your external cause codes there, excludes as well. So if you just type in the term that you're looking for, it'll find it in the external causes. So say we've got a place of occurrence was they were at an indoor swimming pool and at a centre. So you type in lead terms place of occurrence, and then that takes you automatically to your place of occurrence list. So say it's at the swimming pool and it wasn't in a hotel or a private home. So that's our place of occurrence there. So that's your external causes. So what about if you have a transport accident? So similarly, you might type in search lead terms accident, and you see it's identified that there's also accident in the diseases. So click the forward arrow and it takes you to the external causes of injury. So we've got an accident and it's a transport and it's a car occupant in a collision and they ran into a tree. So that is a fixed object. So your first part of your code is your V47. Then you get taken to your fourth and fifth digits to choose. So we're choosing a car occupant injured in a collision with a fixed and stationary object. They were a driver and it was a traffic accident. So you know that that is your code. You can also come down and get all these wonderful explanations about what fits with what car that you see. I don't often know if they give much information about the type of car. The other thing that's great about transport accidents is and in this new edition, there's a lot of information in the notes and definitions about what you can code when and what the definition is of, various things out, someone hanging out the window, what that looks like, and where that would be, um, where that would sit in the definitions of the transport accident. So yeah, really great to be able to just move in and out of that explanation and information as well. So that's if you have a car accident. So the other thing that you might find when you're doing, say, another external cause, so like hit. So say you were hit at the park, a dog ran into you and you broke your leg. So hit by or striking against, and then you back here, you go dog, and then you're struck by the dog. So you know that that's right as well. For drug issues, so adverse effects or poisoning, there's different ways you can look that up. So say they've had an adverse effect or they've swallowed 30 tablets of paracetamol in a say a suicide attempt, you might see something like that. So a couple of ways you can do it is type in the drug that they've overdosed or maybe misused, etc. with. And here you've got your T code that applies to your poisoning for paracetamol. And then you've got your X code, so your accidental, intentional self-harm, undetermined attempt, or if it was an adverse effect of that paracetamol. So everything's kind of in one line. So you've got your T code and intentional self-harm, X60 in this case, if they had specified that it was a suicide attempt. The other way you can look at it is, say, you want to look at the poisoning. You want to follow the poisoning. They were poisoned by paracetamol. So you go poisoning drug specified, and then that takes you to the drugs list. And then in here you choose paracetamol, type it in paracetamol. There it is. And you're back into your table where you've got your T codes and your X codes as well. So this is quite handy when someone has had multiple drugs for poisoning or they've had alcohol as well. You can just sit in that table and keep typing in what they've had, and you get the T code and the X code all together. Also, they've introduced or they've said if you know the drug, but it's not listed. So, say someone's had an adverse effect to a new anti-neoplastic drug, you can code it to the class now. So you just say the patient was being treated with an anti-neoplastic new drug. You can still choose this adverse effect here, and that's the class of drugs that we can apply now. So that's really good in being able to find what we're looking for in the drugs tables. So let's move on to the power of searching with Turbo,
Claire,
which is, yeah.
Claire, sorry to interrupt. Before you move on, there are a couple of questions around the tables that I thought maybe we should try to answer right now, if that's okay.
Sure. We
Because
have got,
we won't be long, I don't think.
okay, sure.
Are you pressing enter between words or entering on that you're entering on the left when you're searching through the navigation pane?
Yeah, so I'm clicking enter. So say we go back to the paracetamol. So first you go into your lead terms, paracetamol. It's identified that it's in the drug table here. So let me do, when you do poisoning, so you want to do the poisoning way. So you type in poisoning, then you click, you can either type in drug. So if I type in the navigation frame DR, that's what I'm looking for. Then I click enter on my keyboard,
Excellent.
specified
That's great.
enter,
That answers that question. Thank you.
and then goes to the hyperlink that way. So when I was doing the, say we quickly do the diabetes there, and then here, so I do with acute, or I want to do kidney failure, enter, kidney, enter, acute, enter. So that takes us all the way down that way.
That's
And
great.
you're doing that.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's look at the power of searching with Turbo, which is my favorite reason why I use it. So there's a couple of ways we can find codes now. We don't have to do just the lead term pathway indexing that we've always done. So say we want to look for two words together. So I know there's been a lot of coding rules released about embolic protection devices. So you can do everywhere embolic protection, then click enter or search forward. It will take you wherever embolic protection occurs together, one after the other. So you might want to say you want to look at the tabular with embolic protection. You've got it there. It's included in a tabby. So you might not be looking for that. So you just keep clicking forward. Oh, this is what I wanted to look for when it's a coronary angioplasty and they use embolic protection device, it can be coded out. It's when it's in the peripheral vascular system, we don't code it. Or say you wanted to look at the coding rules, there's 7 references to embolic protection in the coding rules. Go forward if that's what you're looking for. Oh yeah, this is what I remember. It's in the peripheral arteries that we don't code it. Do not assign a code, and you can hyperlink to whatever this standard is saying. So fantastic way to whip around looking for a particular term when 2 words occur together. So what if you want 2 words to occur together, but they mightn't be next to each other? So you've got, say you want to look at information about LRTI and COPD. So in this case, I'm looking for using the symbol and you click forward. Sorry, I should have been in everywhere, not lead terms. So it's identified a coding rule where LRTI and COPD exist together. You can click in and it's highlighted all through the actual coding rule as well, where LRTI and COPD exist together. You can also look for the same thing using capitals and it will do the same thing. It will take you to what you're looking for. It will not find it if you use lowercase and. It will not know what you're looking for. It starts having a little bit of an issue and it just says, I can't find anything, even though you know that exists. It starts suggesting a whole lot of things that don't mean anything. You can also look for terms together in a intervention. So say you want to look at fixation and spine, those 2 words together. It's got the index there. Let's go straight to that. Fixation of the vertebrae. It's telling me go there. That's not what I'm looking for. Say I want to look at the tabular. There's all the lookups that have fixation and spine, and there's a note that's even been highlighted that has fixation and spine. What's the difference between simple and segmental is in the notes. So that's a really great way to look throughout the whole of Turbo, 2 words that exist together that you're looking for. What happens if you don't know what the whole word is? So say you think you know something, there's something about a head injury or a head strike or a head something. You just type in the first part of the word that you're looking for with your little asterisks. So anything after head will be included. You do your symbol and I think there was a coding rule about something about a head injury and how we code it. Head with the asterisk and symbol injury, click the arrow forward. Coma with head injury. Let's just go straight to the coding rule. I know there was a coding rule about that. And there it is, head strike without injury. So those two words together. So it's finished head with the asterisk. It's identified, well, there's head strike in this particular coding rule, and it does occur with injury. You can also do two lookup terms with asterisks. So say I want to look for anything to do with child and play. So we've got child playing, child playground, childhood, and children playing. So this is probably what I'm looking for because I'm looking for the external cause codes, and it's identified that leisure activity includes children playing hide and seek or a child just playing. So so you can use two terms with an asterisk at the end with the and we'll look for any of those terms with the words child and play in it anywhere throughout the whole app. So that's a really quick way to find things that you're looking for. So we've looked at everywhere, we've looked at lead terms. Let's look at the power of subterms. So this is kind of, a lot of people don't know about this ability, but you'll use it all the time once I've shown you what you have to do. So let's say we're looking for submandibular abscess and we can't find it in the pathway. So we need to find some more information. So we go home, back to home, and everything's clear. Then we choose, we want to look at the index. Then we choose subterms. Then we type what we want to look for in the subterms. So it will show all the diagnoses with abscess in the pathway. So there's a straight lookup for abscess, there's care of lactation for breast abscess. I'm looking for submandibular abscess, but I can't see it listed. So you might see other things that you're looking for, but any pathway that has the word abscess in it. So it's a subterm in the pathway. That's how you would look for that. So, and if you say, oh, I want to look at something like abscess oral, or you just want to go back to the start, abscess oral, is there anything for that? No. Abscess mouth. Okay, we've got mouth. So that might be, oh, what happened then? There's the abscess of mouth with the note. So that's subterm, looking for an index of diseases with the word abscess in it. You can do the same thing if you're looking for a term in a intervention. So we go index of the interventions. Then we choose subterm. Then we type in abscess. So now it's showing us all the different interventions that have abscess in the pathway. Is there anything there that looks right? Submandibular doesn't look like it's been listed. Drainage skin, drainage abscess might be right. Drainage by site. Oh, let's go back. Drainage oral cavity, is that right? There's no notes. Drainage of the oral cavity, I'm not sure if that's right. So let's see if we can find if we've got a note about abscess and submandibular. See what we can find. It's an includes note there. So it's found it what we're looking for by doing that kind of search. So different ways that we can find a code, a pathway for the index for your diagnosis and a pathway for the interventions. Another thing you can do is you want to look for a word in a pathway. So this is another request we've had. So we go index, subterm. We want to look at all the pathways that have hypertension or hypertensive in it. Subterms, hyperten with your asterisks. You can see here this cardiomyopathy, hypertensive, but down here there might be a hypertension. So you've got hypoglycemia with hypertension. So it's finished the word for you. So you can look up pathways like that as well with a part of a word. So that's your subterm search as well. So we've looked at subterm. Okay, let's look at the power of looking for code. So this is another one that I use a lot. And I know Hayley and Jules use this one as well. So say you just want to look up what a code is. You just literally type in the code. It will take you to where it is and what it is. So D64 is anemia. There's the coding rule attached to that. So you go back to code and say you want to code, you want to look at all the terms that have anemia in the code. So you choose search for codes and I want to see anemia in the code. So iron deficiency anemia with secondary to blood loss. So all the different codes that have the word anemia in it. Same thing if you wanted to look up codes that have the word aspiration in it. So this isn't the pathway, this is saying this code has aspiration of ovarian cyst in it. So say we wanted to look at that code, and that's taken us to the tabular. Say we want to look up, how do I get to this code? Highlight, drag it up there, go back to everywhere. It will show you now all the different pathways that will take you to that code. And I've got documentation of drainage cyst, so that means that I can use aspiration cyst. So it's a very clever way, what we call reverse coding. So same thing, say we put in, we want to get to that submandibular code again. You type in the code, we want to start from the beginning, abscess buccal cavity. We don't have that. We've got abscess of the mouth, abscess of the palate, sublingual, submandibular. Okay, so now I know that that particular pathway will lead to K12. It also helps when you're looking for if you're in an auditing role and you want to know how someone got to a code, you can type in, I think there's a code, say 0712. Not that one. I don't think that exists. Okay, so as an auditor, or you want to say why someone is, you want to see how someone has got to that code. So you've got your 0612. None of this documentation seems to match what you're looking for, what's been documented. So you're like, how did they get to this code? So we've got induction of labour that's failed with surgical instrumentation will take you to that code. So you can just keep clicking through until you find the pathway that that particular coder may have used to get to that code. So it's like reverse coding. What about standards? So we've looked at lead term, subterm, code, and standard. So even though it says standard numbers, you can actually type in, say you want to look at all the standards or a standard that has the word complication in it. So 1904, complications of surgical and medical care, it takes you straight to that particular standard. Same if you wanted to look at your condition onset flag. If you type in condition, even if it's misspelt, it'll still make suggestions of what you might be looking for. You're looking for your condition onset flag, and it takes you straight to standard there as well. Now, this is probably a little bit not ideal, but this is a little bit more about what I was talking about before. So say we want to find, as I said before, 062.4. Let me just show you what that code is. I'm going to go from the beginning. What I've done, I've typed in the letter O. 062.4. There we go. So say, sometimes when you do a bit of tabular surfing, and we're not meant to be doing tabular surfing, but sometimes you just happen to, and you see a great code and you're like, how do I get to that code? So say we're coming from a tabular surfing point of view. This looks like a great code. It's got this incoordinate uterine contractions that I've been looking for, and I can't get there. So I want to know how to get to this code. Drag and drop everywhere, forward. It tells you all the different ways you can get there. So this code actually gets there if you have any of these lookups will take you to 064. So incoordinate uterus, that's what I was looking for. That's the documentation I've got. That's how I get to 062.4. So I know we're not meant to tabular surf, but sometimes it helps when we find the code we're looking for and you can like reverse code it. The same thing can happen with your intervention. So if you're tabular surfing or you've got information of TMVR and you're like, what is that? Okay, it's related to this particular code. How do I get there? Everywhere the code, and then we can just motor through what documentation do we have that can get me to this code. So I know we're not supposed to tabular surf, but if we can get there via the index, then that's the great way that we can do it. Okay, quick thing about notes. In the old days, we had paper books and we could write on them and do sticky notes. So the Turbo application does provide that ability as well. So we've got the ability to add a note. So say the educators have said we're now coding infected ulcers differently. So we go to the ulcer code. So we type in ulcer, lead terms, ulcer, go forward. We want to look at the ulcer of the skin of the lower limb, and it's of the shin. So we'll go specified. So L97.8. So let me just delete that and then I'll add it again. So we've got the code that we want to add the note to. You come up to literally the sticky note icon, click on that, click new. I'll show you something else that's about what's happened there. So now the educators have said, now when we have an ulcer of the lower limb, add a B code for the organism that has caused, sorry about the spelling, caused the ulcer. So that's what you wanted to leave with that code. So you click OK and it highlights it and attaches the note. The other way you can say you're an educator and you want to share this with your team, you come up here to the email and you can click any or all the notes that you want to share. So in this case, we just want to share add the B code and we click send. It will bring up, sorry, I'm just moving it from my other screen, your email. This will be, say, if I want to send it to Justin, I type in his name, that will then send to Justin. Do you want to save your changes? No. And then Justin can drag and drop it onto his particular turbo. Or if you wanted to publish the note to your whole team, rather than just email you want to publish, you can do the same thing. But if you, rather than sending it just to Justin, I want to send it to the whole team. So you click publish and the same thing happens. And you can select any or all of the notes that you want to publish at the same time. So these are all the notes that I've got attached at the moment to my particular turbo. If you've got a turbo yourself, you can create personal notes and you can be in charge of the team of sending out the notes. So you can do both personal and team notes. Sometimes you need to have your own notes to remind you how to code something. I think that comes to the end of my demo, so I'm going to throw it open to questions. Is anyone going to ask questions?
Thanks, Claire.
No worries.
I am, but I just was pressing the wrong buttons. So there are
That's
a few
okay.
questions we've answered. Was a number we've answered, I think, 7 already. One of them
Oh,
I wasn't sure on, so I did send a direct message to that person. If that person could reach out to us so that we can try and understand that better, that'd be good. There is a couple of questions that maybe I'll go through now. So
sure.
how can you view the table of transport accidents or other tables?
Okay, so it depends on what you're looking for. So if you want to look at the accident in a car, so you have to type in your lead term being your accident, say you transport accident. So your lead term is accident, then that's taking you to the diseases. Then you say it's a car accident and it will hyperlink to where you need to go. So the table of land transport accidents, there you go from there.
Okay, very
I think you probably can also type in table of um, everywhere, table of, what's it called? Transport, table of trans. I think if you type in the name, yeah, table of, what does that take? There we go. Table of land transport accidents. That's not hyperlinked though. See section 2, accident transport land. So if you type it in, it'll take you there.
thank you, Claire. That's the power of the search capability right there. Um, what are Claire's pruning options? My side panel looks fairly different.
Oh, I know. So I'm just going to make it look awful. See all this plus business? These are all the siblings and the parents and things. So if yours looks like this, you need to prune the tree. So go to view, pruning options. Prune is ticked, prune top and prune siblings. It takes away all that extra stuff down the side. So I'll just show you again. So that's your tree pruning icon. But if you go to view, pruning options, you want prune ticked, prune top, and prune siblings. So untick prune to ellipsis. And then that will tidy up all that extra plus and minus down the side. If this is what you want it to look like, that's what mine looks like.
That's also what mine looks like, Claire. I think it's just a lot easier and cleaner for my brain to work
It
with.
is. I just wanted to show you this include footnote. So before when I copy and pasted a pathway, it will include the footnote. I just wanted to untick that. So that's another option for another time. I can do that. But yeah, so pruning options is covered. Was there any more?
Yep.
Yep.
Are your notes saved between upgrades of Turbo Coder or Turbo Grouper?
Yes. So this is obviously 13th edition. So if you've had 12th edition Turbo, when you upload it, it will say, do you want to bring all your notes over? Um, I've always said yes, but it is really important that you make sure that the notes are still relevant. So you can check your notes as you go and make sure that they haven't been retired or updated upon. So yeah, it does. Once you create a note, it does move with each update and each edition, unless you delete it.
Very good. And a good advice to sort of stay current every time that
Yeah,
comes through.
yeah, yeah.
All right. How can you change the pinned pages? Example, in a two-plane view, how can I have the alphabetic and tabular shown at the same time?
Well, there's this little pin here. If you turn the pin on, it will pin to the display that you want. So these little pins here. So you change that by pinning that one, and then say you want to unpin that one. You do change it depending on what you want it to uh, show. So if you want to pin it to that pin, and then that will stay the same. So it's to do with this pinning up here. Choose the view you want before you pin. So some people like it side by side. Some people like it in four, but I'm just clicking the window icon up here to toggle between what display you want. So it's to do with this pinning and unpinning what you want in each screen. So you choose what you want in each screen. So say you want that there and you want that there, and then you pin, and it will hold it for you in that spot.
Great. Thank
That's
you.
yeah, it's quite a process to do all that. So I think there's a video on pinning that takes you through really clearly what you want. I don't like having the option of windows, so I'm not really super duper at showing you that. But there is a video that does do that very well.
Yeah, but basically you get it to the screen you want it to be at, or the position you want to be at within the documentation frame, and then press the pin and it should pin it for you. But yes, go
Yeah,
to our website and go to the turbo tips. They are a little old, but it does cover pinning quite well.
I think we're going to be redoing those videos as well with
Yeah,
13th edition.
absolutely. Does Subterm search only show diagnosis codes, or does it show search procedure codes too?
It does.
It does.
It's amazing. So subterms, I think I showed you the aspiration. So you go home, index, then search subterms, then type in your word you're looking for. So aspiration, I think I showed you. So that's all the lookups that have the subterm aspiration. So it might be at the beginning, might be at the end, it might be halfway through. So
So the person has asked about drainage. Could you use drainage in active?
sure, let's try drainage. So subterm drainage. Okay, so we've got drainage as a straight lookup. We've got cystoscopy with drainage. We've got all of these. Yeah,
Drainage. Excellent.
all
Excellent.
anything. And when you get to the bottom, so it only can display a certain amount. If you go to the last one and then keep motoring through, it will take you through all the other ones that have the subterm
Great.
of
Thanks.
drainage.
I think, am I right in saying, Claire, that you need to, if you're looking for the ACHI, you need to go sort of set yourself up in the intervention section. If you're looking
Yes,
for diagnosis, set yourself up in the disease index.
yes. So because you wanted to look for the interventions, you go interventions, then subterm.
Great. That's excellent.
That's the
Thank you.
trick. Yeah.
Okay. Great. So we're at 124 right now.
Hmm.
There are no other questions in the question and answer section, but I just want to check, have we answered everything that's been sort of put in there? I think we have. If you haven't had your question answered, please let us know. Gary did make the point that the subterms option is a very good option to have, and so thanks for recognizing that, Gary. I think Claire loves it. I don't see any other questions coming up, so maybe we can end it there. We'll also provide the answers following the webinar. We'll make the recording available. We also have developed some resources to, I guess, help reinforce the learning that you've got today from Claire. And so we'll share those over the next little while with everybody that attended. My final point really is thank you very much for coming. Please make sure that you complete the survey, and if you've got any it's only 4 or 5 questions. If you've got any feedback specifically for us, that would be great.
Great.
We do
Much
try
appreciated.
we do try to amend things based on feedback, so it helps a huge amount. With that, thanks everybody. Thanks, Claire.
You're welcome.
Have yourself a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.